Hello, everybody. This is Mike from the Hey, Are You Still There podcast. My wife Beth and I would like to invite you to join us each week as we examine life at the intersection of marriage, family, careers, and ministry. Through 28 years of ministry, 26 years of marriage, 23 years of professional careers, and 21 years of being parents to 3 kids, our fun and honest discussions promise to have something for everyone. And now, on to the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hey, Are You Still There podcast. This is Mike.
And Beth.
Why'd you give me that look for, Beth?
I don't know. You were saying hello really weird. I don't know.
I was saying it maybe like I say to the cats every morning when I
Yes,
open
when
our
you're
bedroom door.
Yes.
I say, hello, friends.
It's more like, hello, friends. I don't know. You have this really unique way.
It's my cat voice.
Yeah, but it's the nicest voice you use with any person that I know or animal that I know.
Well, the cats treat me better than anybody else in this house.
That is not true, but...
All you do is yell at me.
That is not true.
You have yelled at me a lot in the last few days.
Not yelled, just like I made you apologize.
Tonight, Maria was yelling at me as we were driving in the car.
But maybe this is a sign to you that you should instigate less if everybody's yelling at you.
I don't even think I was instigating anything.
Well, you might not have been tonight, but the other day when I made you apologize, you were.
Yeah. We won't even get into that because your blood will get boiling.
Yes, and I don't need that. It's too late at night. Yeah. This is the latest we've done a podcast. It's after 9 o'clock. It's past my bedtime.
It is 9 o'clock on Thursday night.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Knocking this thing out.
Yes.
So I guess let's just stop, go back, and start over. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hey, Are You Still There podcast. This is Mike.
And Beth.
And published author, Beth.
Yes. Published author. Yes. Finally, it has happened.
It has.
After all this time. It's so interesting because, well, we'll talk about it, but I just posted today for the first time, that it was published. It was published the 14th officially. But I looked back and Facebook was like, oh, you should share this with some groups. And then it made me go back and look. I did an Advent challenge back in 2016. And
Dang.
I did another Advent challenge in 2017.
So you've been writing this book for 9 years.
Yeah, it's been,
9 years in the making.
Yeah. I mean, they were, it's grown and been different, but it was just interesting. I didn't realize my friend Jenny and I had done Verse Girls for years, which is where we just dreamed up one day, like, we should do this online Bible study because we were having a hard time, like, finding times. This was pre-COVID, before everything was online. This is back in the day when everything was more face-to-face. And we were finding that people wanted to do Bible studies, but they couldn't find the time together. And we were also finding that people, I think, were craving more direct, actual scripture reading. And so, I'd read, there were a bunch of different churches and stuff that had talked about like the line-by-line Bible or just reading different verses and how you could do it. So Jenny and I sat around one day and we were like, oh, we should, start an online group, a Facebook group. And we would just invite people and we would chunk out, we'd pick a book. I forget what our first book, I should know, the first book we ever did, but I don't remember what it was. I don't know if it was Ecclesiastes. It was something relatively short. And I just remember Jenny was like, well, I don't know, because Jenny's very much like, everything needs to be planned and done before you do it. And she's like, well, we need to think about this. And she started listing all the things. And I was like, oh, I've already formed the group and started inviting people. So it was like, it was this great balance of like Jenny, who was very much like, well, let's make sure we're getting this right and we're organized. And then me, who was just like, oh, I've already made the group and invited people, even though we have no content yet. But that was kind of how this whole book started, I feel like, was because of
what's the name of the book? We've talked to you about you writing a book.
Okay, I forget.
But we haven't necessarily dove into the name or what it's like.
Yeah, what the deal is with it.
Yeah, what's the deal with this book?
Okay.
I mean, is it smut? Is it like trash book?
No,
is
of course not.
Romance?
No, it's called Wondering Light. an Advent challenge.
Wandering like WANDER,
Or,
like.
no, not wandering around, wondering, as in I wonder.
Okay.
I'll break that down in a minute, but wondering light, an Advent challenge from curiosity to awe. So what this book is essentially, it can be read. I'll talk about content and then we can talk about the title, but it can be read at any time in the year. It's 28 devotionals. But I did some research before.
So we can do it in Advent or February.
Yes, okay. Exactly. That's your only options. Or if you found some way you wanted to break the year into 28 weeks. And
you could do a Valentine challenge.
Yeah, exactly. You can make it what you want. But it's, of course, geared towards the time leading up to Christmas. And so for people, we didn't know about Advent. You and I didn't until really probably we worked in the Methodist church.
Yeah.
Because we didn't grow up with it. As
Baptists don't believe in Advent.
we didn't know about Advent or Lent. And I think learning about these traditions, I think there's this balance in your faith and in everything. And traditions can, of course, be problematic for people when you cling to them too much. But traditions also ground you to something and tie you to generations before you and make you slow down and reflect. And Advent is a time of waiting. You're essentially waiting for the birth of Christ. So just as Israel waited, all the years that they waited for their Messiah, Advent is this time for us that starts, there's the 4 Sundays before actual Christmas Day. So you back out from that. So the book is written for 28 days because the number of days in Advent changes. And the way the book is written, Advent has a focus for each week. And so if you ever go to a church that celebrates Advent, they'll talk about Advent as in you're awaiting this birth of Christ, it's this time of waiting. And week 1 is a focus on hope. And so there's a candle that you would light that week that is the hope candle. And usually there's a scripture or a focus on hope for the first week of Advent. So in the book, the first week, 7 days, there's 7 devotions that are based on hope. The second week is peace. And again, there's a peace candle. So when you go to the church, they would light the hope candle and then the peace candle. And there's 7 devotions based on peace. The third week is joy. And you have a joy candle. And so up until that, the book is consistent no matter what in Advent. Where it changes is the 4th week, which is the week of love. And that's going to change depending on the calendar year. And so, sometimes there may be 3 days that week before Christmas comes. Sometimes it's a full 7. So the book has 28 devotions. And as I said, broken up 7 hope, 7 peace, 7 joy, 7 love. What makes it unique, I'd done some research, is even back when we did the challenge, and I don't even remember what inspired me to do the initial challenge. I think it's more because, I don't know, I'm just an action person. And you know that about me. If something bad happens, I'm the person that's immediate, okay, what are we going to do? Somebody suffered some catastrophe or something's happened in the world. I'm a person that's almost like I was with the other stuff, with Jenny, I'm not going to step back and pause and think about it. I'm the person that's all right, I'm jumping in. I have to act. I have to do something. And I think everybody's just wired differently because some people are more, they're going to default to praying, or some people are going to default to planning or whatever, but I'm an action person. And so I think as I was thinking about that, I wanted to think about what are some actions I can do during Advent. So that's part of where the challenge came in. I think the other piece with Advent is Christmas has always been my favorite holiday. I mean, as we've talked about on the podcast, I would probably have up a Christmas tree right now along with our fall decorations if I could, but there's just something about finding the tree and the Christmas carols and the snow and just everything that I just love. But I've found, because we've been in ministry pretty much our entire marriage, Christmas is also, Christmas and Easter are our big holidays. Those are the biggest times of year that are the busiest for us. So that means pretty much from
Well,
that.
and you love Christmas more than I do.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I would never write a Christmas themed book
No, you wouldn't.
of any type.
No, no. And
But you love it.
I do. I mean, and I love everything about Christmas. But what makes Christmas hard is for somebody like me who's always loved that magic of Christmas is, especially being in ministry now, it is the busiest time of the year because from the moment the first Advent starts, you're thinking about your calendar of all the Sundays that you have leading up to Christmas. And you have the Christmas parties that you may have at work. You have the Christmas events with your friends. You have activities that we do, like with our good friend Chuck Spong, Christmas for the City, like that Mike's planned and worked on. We have our Christmas gift mart that we do at the Hope Center that takes a tremendous amount of work and planning to give gifts to families that we serve at our Hope Center. We have buying all the presents, preparing, snacks and food and gift exchanges. There's just so much to do. And so it was like...
So you felt like what you wanted to do was give somebody else one more thing to do.
Exactly. I wanted to add to them to their to-do list and a challenge every day in that. But where I'm going with this is the whole point of this book and these reflections was to try to figure out a way that I could step back and slow down. And I think that's really what's so beautiful about Advent. You don't have to dedicate a lot of time to this. These are short devotions, and I'll talk about how they're formatted, but just taking, 15 minutes essentially each day to step back and to say, okay, I'm really going to focus on hope. I'm going to get recentered and remember, what the point of all this is, because you can get so caught up and worried about, I have no idea, like now that I have teenagers, when they were little kids, I could find tons of presents to buy. Now I can't find anything to buy them, but you can get so caught up in what present do I buy? What do I do? Or what are we going to cook? Or when are we going to be with these family members? That you kind of lose the magic, you lose the fun, you lose the excitement. So this was a way to kind of step back and to say, okay, deep breath, we're going to slow down, we're going to take time, and we're going to focus on each of these things. So the way the book is structured is like, for example, so for the first week, which is the week of hope, there's a scripture that will focus on hope, and then I have a short devotion. And the devotions they're just really reflections from my life. They're just things that I've encountered in parenting
like a Beth
or marriage.
Autobiography.
Well, but not really. It doesn't go through. I mean, it's not like I was born this day, because it's all over the place. It's more like,
I was a poor sharecropper's daughter up in Danbury.
No, it's not that at all. See, you're going to make everybody be like, I do not want this book. It is not that at all. It's more like, okay, I read this verse. If I'm reading this verse, what did this verse make me think about in my life? How did this verse apply? And then based on how that verse applied, I have a devotional that's short. And then every day there's 3 reflection questions. And the reflection questions tie back to the scripture and the devotional and just help you really, again, pause for a minute and think about, do I struggle with this? Or is this a problem for me? Or what do I do? But then I think the key to this, and the thing that's different and unique about this from other just random devotionals and stuff when I researched it, is there's a challenge every day. And the challenge is tied in thematically with the scripture and the devotion. But the challenge can be everything from maybe writing yourself reminders or doing things to actually going out in your community and doing something that day for somebody else. But I tried to be really thoughtful in the challenges. I know not everybody has the same amount of time. Some people have mobility issues. Some people, have, larger social circles of interaction than others. So I tried to be really thoughtful in the challenges to write them in such a way that, even if you were homebound or something, there's ways that if you couldn't leave and go physically do something, you could still, send a message or do a phone call. So I put a lot of thought into it.
You have. The book is fantastic.
Yeah. So it was a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So I've always said, like, not always, but recently I've been saying that it'd be cool if we had like a video camera,
Yeah.
right? To like video ourselves. And people have said, man, I wish I could see you guys on camera.
So they could see us roll our eyes and stuff.
Right.
And then you would say, I wasn't rolling my eyes like tonight at dinner. And I was like, I said, yes, you did. And I demonstrated. And then you just looked at the ceiling and said, I was just looking up.
I was just looking at the,
See, then the listeners
they get remodeled and I was like looking at the paint.
The listeners could vote on whether you really rolled your eyes.
Well, we're going to do a reaction video without video.
Okay.
So close your eyes.
Okay.
Eyes are shut for Beth.
Okay.
Now
And
you can open.
Okay.
How about that, Beth?
It's the book.
The first copy right here in your hands.
For the listeners who didn't know, you kind of told me to keep talking, and then you walked and I heard the door open, and I'm like, is he leaving?
No, I thought about it. I was like, I think the book may be here now. And
oh my gosh.
How do you feel looking at that, Beth?
I don't know. There's just something about, and I know, I guess people could joke. It's like you and I've joked. Anybody can write a book now, but not anybody does. Everybody doesn't sit down and write a book. And
you did.
As a person who
how's it feel to hold it in your hand
books.
and look at it on paper? You did that.
I think that's the thing that's so crazy.
How about that Heidi on the back cover there?
Oh, gosh.
That's a good looking picture, Beth.
No, it's just crazy. It just feels really weird because, I think I've talked on here before, and maybe I even wrote about this at one point, but like I was a kid who loved reading, and I've always loved to read, and I would go check out the maximum number of library books. And then if I visited people and they had bookshelves in their homes, I was like, now that's rich. Like they are rich people with all those books. And then I went to like Biltmore and saw that library, and I was like, one day I'll have a library. And so I think for somebody who loves reading.
Hey, you just gave me an idea.
What?
You and I are going to Asheville in a few weeks, right?
Yeah.
We should each take a copy of our book
and
see if we can sneak it into the Biltmore library.
Go up on one of the, yes. When no one's looking.
When
we're
no
like
one's
pulling
looking,
something
let's
out
try
of
to
our
get our
coat.
books into the Biltmore library.
I love it. And then that would be even more magical. But I don't know. And that's the thing that I think for anybody, you would feel this sense of accomplishment to hold this book that you've written. But I think for me, especially as a lover of books, like it just feels not real. But I will also say, as you know, it also is anxiety producing for me. I don't know. You didn't talk about this. Did you feel any anxiety?
No, and in fact,
there?
I talked about how I didn't understand it because no one knew I was writing this book. I was having to do all this research myself. And talk about, and just try to figure out what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so I go to my favorite website, Reddit, and I'm on the self-published forum, and I'm reading it every day. And every day there's somebody or multiple people that are writing about two things. Like, I've been writing this book for 2 years. I keep finding things wrong with it. Everything has to be perfect. And all these comments are like, it's never going to be perfect. You're always going to miss something. There's always going to be something that you're going to read it and say, oh, I should have done this. This sentence didn't make sense, whatever. But there's people who have books, manuscripts, ready to hit send to Amazon.
Right.
And they can't pull the trigger because they're frozen by the fear of imperfection. Mm-hmm. And then you have the other people who put it out there and then they'll type, hey, I just published my first book today. Now I'm terrified. What if nobody reads it? What if people read it and they hate it? What if, and all these what ifs. And so I'm at a point in my life where I literally could not care less about most things. And so for me, I didn't even think about, well, I'm sure I have typos. I'm sure I have stuff that doesn't make sense. But you read it. Another friend read it. We put it out there. We hit send. And that I didn't think another thing about it. And I didn't care who read it. I didn't care what the reviews were going to be. And they've all been 5 stars. and it's been very encouraging. But you're
couldn't be
the
more
opposite.
of
You
me.
are the complete opposite.
I am that person that still would not
This book would not be published if I didn't go hit publish.
Yes, and I have to say, and so I'll talk about that piece as well as then the aftermath of how I feel now. But I have been working on this since before you did your book. You know, like you know that this is something I've been talking about. I've been putting it together. I've been pulling these stories and really thinking about, you know, what did I want it to be and how did I want to structure it and which stories did I want to use and what would it look like. And I even wanted my friend Katrina to edit it because she's an editor and I ran out of time. I mean, I had people read it, but I wanted because I am so terrified of mistakes. And this is probably one of the things that makes me a good lawyer. It's also one of the things that makes me have anxiety. And, you know, the things that make you a good lawyer can also lead to these other issues that I have because I pay attention to detail. I think about every mistake I could make. I go back and I read it 40 times. And what's so hard about this is I was so worried about version control issues. I knew it wasn't that I thought, I mean, not to be, there's stuff that I didn't know how to do. Like I was getting confused on the M dash and the N dash, and everybody can Google that if you want to be a real nerd. Like when you use each type of dash in your writing.
I didn't even know that was even a thing.
Yes.
Maybe ignorance is bliss. That's the problem. I wrote my book like a third grader.
But I'm sitting here like with my grammar going to that level, like not only asking other people about it, checking it on Grammarly, checking it in Word, checking it myself, as Googling the appropriate use, to the point that I was driving myself crazy. And as you know, and then the other problem was this version control. Like I kept having to I would send something to you and say, what do you think about this? Or how does it look? And then you might format it. And then, as you know, if you went back, it'd probably be funny to go through your email and see how many, quote, final copies I sent you, because Mike was the one, bless him, who uploaded this so that it could be published and in the Kindle format so people could have it on their Kindle. So I would send these copies to you, and then I would go back and I'd be like, oh, no, I found this. This is wrong. I have to change it. Or I've decided I need to do this. You
did that even after I published it.
Yes,
we had a
one
final
bit of
copy.
Anxiety that I have. Yes,
I hit publish.
Yes,
and then you found one or two things you didn't like.
I was like,
and you were like, "Take it down,
pull it back,
take it down." So I took it off.
Yes,
you did what you need to do. We republished it. And then you were like, you found something else. Take it down.
Yes.
Took it down again.
And then you told me after that, when I thought I'd found something else in the Kindle version, because I had not seen the paper copy literally till right now. Because what happens is your Kindle version gets up pretty fast, but you have to wait on the paper. So the problem but with the Kindle, you can change the font to whatever you want. So when you got bad eyes like me, the font's really big. So when I got onto the Kindle version, there's one part where like a line that's supposed to be under the word joy, for example, is at the end of a chapter. And no matter what we did, we couldn't fix that because it was just something the Kindle formatting was doing. And then there was also like the title, Wondering, was hyphenated depending on how big the font was, which of course is going to happen.
I kept trying to tell you.
You told me, and that was
go by Kindle.
And that's the first. So my mom actually had gotten a copy. She told me today, and I was like, go look at the first page and see if it has a hyphen to make sure that it's right. And so I did. I was like driving myself insane. And so you even posted about the book on Facebook before I did, because I kept telling you, I almost felt embarrassed or ashamed to post it. And I still feel anxiety. So you pushed me. You were like, you're posting this. You're putting it out there and you're doing it. So in that moment.
With a few cuss words in there.
Yeah. You were the Beth and I was the Jenny, in that I was the person who was like, I want to make sure because you want to do something with excellence. You want to, I don't want somebody to read and be like, wow, Beth can't spell, or she didn't even care enough about her book to use her dashes appropriately. Or maybe she shouldn't have used a colon and she should have used a comma. Or maybe she shouldn't have put two spaces.
Most of your readers are going to be on about a 9th grade level. I don't think anybody, and that's not slamming any of our readers. I'm just saying most people, 99% of people reading this book are not grammar experts.
Yeah, they're not going to
they're
be.
reading it for the content,
Right.
not for the little things,
So,
hyphens and
right.
commas and stuff.
So you've got me past that part. You know, I've got the hard copy here. I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, then I sent it to just my mom and your mom and to my kids. And the kids are basically like, oh yeah, I'll read it. Well, they haven't read yours yet. So I'm not fully convinced they're going to read it. So I did send it to some of my kids' friends, said I could try to guilt my kids into reading it. But then, you know, I did put it out there today, and a lot of people have been really sweet and told me they've already bought it. And it's been really interesting because there are people that I haven't seen in 20 years or something.
I told Ross, I said, Beth will, in her first week, will outsell my book. And my book's been out a month and a half.
I don't believe that at all.
It.
But I think
you've got a better book. And
I don't think, no one knows that when they buy the book.
But
it's not a reflection on that at all because they don't
people
know.
saw that I wrote a book and assumed that there was going to be, most of it would be pictures. Stick figures acting out, whatever.
People have loved your book.
They have, once they've read it. But yours, I think you come at it where people are just like, with excellence. People know I'm going to get something quality out of this because it's Beth. And they are like, I want a piece of this.
But I will tell you, so here's the next thing that I have now, because I told you this in the driveway when we walked out there. You're trying to put something in the car and go somewhere. And I'm like, do you just feel sick to your stomach when you put it out there? I just feel icky inside. It's so strange. And it's like, I think for me, you had some cool stories in yours and they were funny. I think for me, some of my stories are like, they're just harder or a little sad, you know? I mean, and I know that sounds weird to talk about
You're
hope,
sadder
but
than I am.
Definitely, yes. I'm the sad one of the group. I am the cloud and you are the sun.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, even in some of the things about hope, I mean, you can't have hope if you haven't felt hopeless. You know, you can't sometimes experience, I think, awe-inspiring love without, you know, feeling lonely and without love. And so some of my reflections, it's just hard to put yourself out there because, I mean, I do put some things out there about my anxiety, which, by the way, we do have a friend, we'll call him Ross. I think he totally missed the point of, like, that one, like where I was going.
We talked about this last week.
Yeah, where he was using it as a how-to.
Yeah.
But I just say, I think
but
that's
to brag
the hard
on
part.
Ross, he read both your book and mine this year. And he said he hasn't read 2 books in a year since 3rd grade. So I am so proud of Ross.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but I think that's the hard part is like, you're just putting yourself out there. And when it's those personal parts of like your heart, I mean, I now read, I make the mistake, and we've talked about this on here too. I don't even have, I mean, I guess I have a Twitter account. One time, all of Josh's, like, what they call it, those piggies and Angry Birds game. One time I remember my Twitter account was hooked to it, and he was playing these games, and it kept saying, this bird did this to this pig or something. I feel like that's all that's on my Twitter account. But I can't look at it because I read people's comments, and it breaks my heart. Like, there will be someone that died by suicide and people are saying horrendous things. Or there'll be somebody that wrote a poem and people are ripping them a new one, you know, and so I am a little worried. I mean, and I can take it if somebody doesn't, I guess, like it, but I think it's just hard to, you're putting yourself out there and being vulnerable with people you don't know. Because it's one thing when I'm vulnerable speaking at the church, you know, where I know most of the congregation, or, you know, sharing at a Bible study. It's another thing to put this in paper and put it out there. And in some ways, I think, I don't know, maybe I would have been better off if I'd have just written like one of my, you know, dystopian future fantasy books about dragons. That would have been.
You wouldn't have sold a copy.
Why? Everybody loves dragons and dystopian futures, you know.
Those are the people who write a book and then they're like 2 years later, I still hadn't sold a copy.
Oh.
You know, because there's so much out.
Because there's so much, not that theirs isn't quality, but well-known authors that produce that type of book. Yeah.
And you've written something that speaks to the human heart. And you've written something that your friends can pick up and read and hear your voice in it. Strangers can pick it up and read it and feel like they know you intimately. Christians can pick it up and obviously get a lot out of it. I think non-Christians can pick it up and read it and at least come away wondering more about, to steal your line, wondering like, they want to wonder more about who Jesus is.
Right.
And I think it's a great book.
I would hope so, because
if people can only afford one book this year, I think they should buy yours and not mine.
Aww.
Like, I think yours is really good.
Well, I have to say too, like, I'm looking at even the cover, which I think looks really cool. And I do have to emphasize again, this book would not have happened if you didn't kind of, I don't want to say force me, but like if you didn't like say, I've uploaded it, it's there. And at one point then, whether we could or not, you told me I couldn't go back and change it again. But also the cover, it just looks kind of whimsical and it's got the light. And I had said I would go back to the title. You helped me with the title because the title that I wanted was kind of already taken. And so I didn't get to do that. And, one of the things about wonder is just like, what do people wonder about? Like I wonder about all sorts of things. I wonder why the sky's blue. I wonder if dogs, like how much they really understand that we say. I wonder about UFOs. I mean, we've always joked that if someone got a hold of my phone, they would be like, this is the most interesting person in the world, because my Google search history is very varied. But that's a lot of where this came from, is like, it's easy for me because I wonder about everything. And then we talked about how I've just always had this curiosity. I was the person in the family that'd be like asking questions. I'd be like, but why? And then somebody would answer it and I'd be like, why? And even in Bible studies, I remember sometimes people would be like, you think too much or you ask too many questions. Father Bob was one of the only people I think that treasured it. He was like, you need to keep pondering. He was delighted by the questions, but I think everybody else was like, too many questions. But I wonder, I have this curiosity about things. And then I think for me too, as you know, I'm a deep feeler. And so like, I think this wonder and this curiosity sometimes, not always, but leads me to this sense of awe. I mean, when I have those moments when I see like a beautiful creation or something, a person does something really loving and kind for somebody, I have these moments of just awe where I'm just like kind of stunned by it. And then I think all of that, the whole point of the book is all of this wondering, and curiosity can lead you to this sense of awe about the world that you're in. And then I think that those are glimpses of the ultimate light, the light of Christ that's in our world. So that's kind of where the title came from. That's the whole thing.
I was talking to my buddy Luke today, and Luke was talking about your book. And he's like, I saw Beth's book's out. And I was like, yeah. And he said, did you get Beth a gift for publishing her first book? And I was like, of course I did. And I did. I gave you a gift.
Yes.
Because I'm the master gift giver.
And that is one of the things. Did you remember?
Mm-hmm.
I wrote about you being a master gift giver.
Yeah.
That's a sign of like, truly, I took things from everyday life, but there is one of these that is about you.
And Luke is a master gift giver.
Yeah.
And so Luke, he was like, did you give her something? I was like, absolutely. And he was like, and did she give you something for publishing your first book?
No.
And I said, what do you think, Luke? And he said, nope.
Because I am not the master gift giver.
And, and Luke just pointed out, I mean, really, I blazed the trail for you. Mm-hmm. I was your guinea pig.
Yes. You figured out all this stuff, all the how to set up the account, how to do it all. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So I should have given you a gift.
You should have.
Maybe I'm going to give a gift later. It's just later. When you've met your goal and how many books you're selling, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Ross and I were talking today and he asked about, he was talking about my book, and he said, how many copies have you sold? And I told him, and he said, do you have a number in mind? And I was like, I didn't at first. Like, I just put it out there. I didn't care because that was my goal, is just to write a book. I'm not a writer. This is so foreign to me. And so it's out there. I said, I read a stat that said 90% of self-published authors never sell 100 books.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, so now that's my challenge. I want to sell 100 books.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm close. And after the first month. And so I'm like, come on, I just need to get to that 100,
Yeah.
I want to be that top 10%. And the other stat I read is that as a self-published author, if you can sell 250 copies, that's considered really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I told Ross, I was like, Beth will probably sell 250 before I get to 100. But
I don't think so.
I think you will. And I'm happy about that.
No, I think we'll both. I mean, I think both of us will be lucky if we make it to 100, both of us, just because we don't,
Beth,
people don't know
if
us.
everybody on Facebook that truly bought your book that said they did already, you'll have 100 by next Wednesday.
I don't know about that, but I think, I mean, and part of it too, it's hard because of course it's not about like how many, but you want to sell enough that you feel like somebody
was
read
worth
it.
it.
Yeah, like the time and effort. And I think the other thing is in the worth it, we're not going to quit our jobs, our day jobs, and like make money off our royalties or anything. It's not about the money at all, because if you look at the hours and the time we spend on this, oh, good gracious, we're getting paid, what, a penny an hour off what you make? But I think it's more about, I think back to like, well, two things. One time years and years ago when we were new in youth ministry, we really didn't know what we were doing. This is that first class that we had, like, with, like a lot of the kids when we were there at our first job. And so we were 23? We even started, did you start working there before we were married?
Yeah.
We weren't even married yet. And so I was leading like a girls' Bible study. You had like some guys' Bible study, some girls. And I remember we were talking about some girls and I made some offhanded comment like, oh, somebody was talking about having struggles with prayer or something. And I was like, oh, well, that's when, when I can't stay focused, I just like write it down. And years later, I didn't even remember that I said that because it was just one of those things of like, I have ADHD. But then I didn't know that. I just thought.
Everyone else knew it.
Yeah, everyone else knew it, but I didn't. So I thought it was really groundbreaking that I would write down prayers sometimes. But the mother of that child came back and talked about how now that student does a lot of writing and how transformative that comment was. And so that stuck with me. And then you found this book. You were cleaning out something over there, a cabinet, and you found this journal that we read, and we laughed at all the stuff in it because I decided to take this journal and write down funny things the kids said. I was asking them before Christmas, or Thanksgiving. I was like, when they were little.
It kind of took place between a span of about October to January.
Yeah, and Josh wasn't even born yet. But it was kind of like, what are you thankful for today? Stuff like that. And I would write down what they said. But you opened the book and you were like, do you know where you got this? And one of our former youth asked me to be the matron of honor when she got married. And, she just wrote a really sweet thing in that journal at the front. And so I say all that to say, like, that's what I hope will come from it. If I have like one person, and I mean, I hope you feel this way. I think you probably do, but because in ministry, this is what you're going through all the other nonsense for, but if you have one or two people that later come back and say, I read this and this helped me, or this like made me feel less alone, or this made me realize I'm loved, or this gave me hope. That's what I hope happens with it. Because again, I mean, we joke, but we're not gonna, make money off of it or anything. It's not about that.
And I've gotten a couple of those messages. And there's one from our friend Jim in Texas that has been really hard, and he's not just wrote me and wrote a review. Like anytime the book's been mentioned, he always comments, "Y'all got to buy this book." Like
Yeah.
you could tell, like he
really
genuinely
he was touched by the book. Yeah.
And so, I mean, that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And I think that's it for me. And I think that's why I just hope that it's not people who are like, well, that chick is a moron or like whatever. I don't even read enough of the nasty comments like that people would put on Twitter to be even able to make up a comment they would make. But that's what I hope I don't get. I hope maybe I get a few like, hey, I read this and it really helped. The one other thing I will put out there that I'll probably do is in spirit of the challenge, and I'll probably advertise this in a few weeks. I'll probably start an online Facebook group again. And I'm not going to post every devotion or anything, but it'll be a place where each day I might, post something and people can share. Did they get something out of a reflection question? Did they do one of the challenges and what did they do? But just a place for people to sort of interact about what they're doing. And the other part of the book is one other thing I forgot, even though there's a daily challenge, it's not like I told everybody like, oh, you've got to go do this today. It's more like this week, try to do this or today, or, it's like some of them are today, but some of the things are like, okay, just in the next few days, try to do this. So it's like hopefully things that people can actually accomplish. They're not like crazy goals.
Well,
yeah.
I think it's cool. It's a good looking book.
It is. It's beautiful.
There you go. You got it in your hands.
Yeah, it's crazy to have it in my hands. It feels very strange.
Is this the one bad copy?
I don't know.
Did you look?
I don't think so.
Number 28?
But, it could be. Well, it looked like it had the full thing.
So, yeah.
But it didn't have our definition at the beginning. So now I'm like, I don't know. There was one copy that Mike had ordered before we pulled it down.
Oh, yeah. This could be it.
So, but again, it was something so minor.
Yes.
The things that I know I sound crazy, but
now that you see it, you're like, why was I worried over the little things? Hopefully
I do, except you're going to have to stop me from going and reading it with the red. And that's going to be the other thing. I don't know that I can go read it right now because I think I will find something else that I will be like, I wish I would have changed.
Till you get some positive reviews and then you can go back.
Yeah.
Like I won't reread mine.
Right.
I read it enough writing it where I kept going back and reading stuff and tweaking it. And so
the thing that's interesting with mine is what I don't know. You and I talked about this too. Yours is a book that people can have year round. So people can continue to buy it as it comes up. Somebody's doing a Bible study on the armor of God or a sermon series. They can buy it. Mine is sort of seasonal. It'll be interesting too. I don't know how many people are going to get this and say, oh, now that I've read how this works for Advent, I'm going to wait, until the end of November to start, or are people just going to read it now? I don't know. That'll be interesting too. So I don't know if it's going to be like this delayed reaction on if and when people read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you got to start working on a Lent one.
Oh, gosh.
You've done 28. Now you can do 40.
I know that. Yeah. I'm like wait a minute. When did I say I did the first Advent Challenge? 2016. Okay. So we'll start the Lent Challenge this year. So in 2035, I'll write a book about Lent. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll do a dragon book in between there or something. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah.
I'll give that one a bad review. I won't read that one. Either will Ross.
In other topics, Josh has picture day tomorrow, and we did not get his hair cut, so his bangs are still hanging in his eyes. And so basically, I've just given up, and I was just like, please try to make sure that your shirt is ironed and that you shake the hair out of your eyes before your picture's taken. Yeah. One of our favorite pictures of Josh was I don't know what happened to us that day, but he showed up in a Kool-Aid shirt. And his hair was all.
Well, you and I were gone.
Yes.
I want to say we were on a mission trip,
and we
forgot it was picture day, and he did too. And then when the pictures came out, he was literally wearing a jacket and a Kool-Aid shirt.
And he had one hand in one pocket. Yeah. His hair was kind of that rock star look, and so we always said that was going to be his album cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just never know with Josh what I'm getting on picture day. But I was like, can we brush your hair tonight, so the curls can bounce back or whatever by tomorrow? I don't know. But yeah, so we've got that going on in life with Josh. Yeah.
Yeah. So you had the big week with the book. Mm-hmm. I had 3 events in my life this week that were somewhat cool. The first one was I took Jacob to Auburn University this past weekend.
Yes, this is my great moments of FOMO.
Yes, you were FOMOing real hard.
Yes.
But Jacob is a huge Cam Newton fan. Cam Newton played for Auburn, won the national championship at Auburn, won the Heisman Trophy at Auburn, and then, of course, came and played for the Carolina Panthers, where Jacob just fell in love with him. Jacob wore number 1 in high school when he was a quarterback in honor of Cam. He played like Cam. He wanted to be Cam.
Yes.
And so he is an apologetist for Cam.
Yeah.
Apologetics.
Yeah,
Cam.
Yeah.
He is always online as Cam's greatest defender.
Yes.
Because
I just
Cam
wish
is very
Cam knew.
He's a very polarizing figure.
Yes, he
people
is.
either love him or hate him. Most hate him.
Yeah.
Just because he's
just out there. He's just kind of
he's quirky. He's flamboyant.
He doesn't care what people think.
Yeah,
I think he legitimately. There are people who act like they don't care. I think he legitimately doesn't care what people think.
I just think he enjoys life.
Yeah.
He enjoys his life.
Yeah.
So for Jacob's birthday, we found out that Auburn was retiring his number. There had only been 3 other football players in the history of Auburn to have their numbers retired. They're going to retire Cam's. So we surprised Jacob and got him tickets to the Auburn game. And so he and I went. We left last Friday, drove halfway, spent the night, got up the next morning, drove.
At a great hotel that I found for you.
It was a nice hotel.
Yeah.
Yes, very nice.
Yeah.
Drove down, played some golf on the way down, and then checked in our hotel, and then went to Opelika, Alabama. I love that name.
Yeah.
That is the home of Dusty Slade. That is where he was born and raised, Opelika. So if I ever meet him, I have it in. I'm going to be like, hey, I was in Opelika.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people can say that.
I know how to pronounce it, spell it, and I've been there.
Yeah, I don't know about spelling it, but I can pronounce it. But we got to Opelika. We went to a team store there, got us some Auburn gear, and then they had a shuttle bus right there in that parking lot. So we jumped on the shuttle bus and took it over to the stadium.
Okay, you got to share Jacob's favorite things because I thought they were so fascinating.
Yeah. So I've been to tons of football games, college football. I've been to all the ACC stadiums, Wake a ton of times.
Yeah.
I've been to Duke. I've been to State. I've been to Carolina. I've been to NFL games. Nothing I have ever been to compares to being there. This, as a football fan, and I hope I don't get too much in the weeds here, the SEC, which is a Southeastern Conference, is the king of the mountain. Like, SEC has all the best teams, the greatest rivalries. It's who everyone bows down to. They make the most money. And as an ACC fan, that's what Wake is. Wake's in the ACC. I've always hated the SEC.
Yeah.
It's kind of that rivalry, conference rivalry.
Yeah.
But there was a moment in the game when Jacob turned and looked at me and he said, I get it now. He's like, this is college football.
Yeah.
Like, this is football. Their stadium holds 87,000 people. It was sold out.
Yeah.
To put it in perspective, Panther Stadium in Charlotte holds 74,000.
Right.
This is a college stadium that holds 13,000 more people, and it's not even the biggest college stadium in the country.
Yeah.
Like Tennessee, Michigan, they hold 100,000.
Yeah.
And they sell out.
Yeah.
But we got there, the energy, just everyone, just Auburn, orange and blue, just not. And I, a couple times, like, is this what App State's like when a football game? Jacob was like, oh, yeah. He was like, yeah, maybe App times 100 is this,
Yeah.
And we just go in. We had incredible seats. We sat in the end zone. We were row 14. I mean, we were right on top of the action. It was so great. And
so even without the Cam Newton part, just that whole environment,
the energy.
was so fun.
I'm trying not to be. I'm letting it kind of die down because in the moment, I thought to myself, this is the best sporting event I've ever been to in my life. And I've been to hundreds of sporting events. Every kind of sporting event in the world, I feel like I've been to.
Yeah.
And I felt like this is the best.
Right.
Like just the energy. And I didn't have a dog in the fight.
Yeah.
I wasn't Auburn played Georgia. That's the oldest rivalry in the South.
Mm-hmm.
They've been playing 100 and some years together, right? And so, but of course I was cheering for Auburn because I was there and, but it wasn't like, I don't have anything invested in these teams, but I was like called up. Like it was just, you could just feel this electricity in the air and the students and the alumni just, it was all, so Jacob's top three things. Jacob's a bird guy.
Yes.
And Auburn, they're the Auburn Tigers, but their motto is War Eagle. And they yell out War Eagle and all this kind of stuff. And so where some big games would have like military flyovers with jets, they drew your attention to the top of the stadium, which just happened to be behind us. It was in the end zone where we were up at the very top, and there was this big giant cage, and they let this golden eagle out, and it flew. It was massive, and it flew a lap around the stadium, and then it came around, and everyone is cheering and going crazy. And then it lands at the 50-yard line, right in the center, and the whole place is like War Eagle. I mean, it was unbelievable. And then of course, at halftime they recognized Cam.
Oh, by the way, before you get to the Cam thing, that was one thing I talked to Jacob about. I was like, maybe that can be your career goal. What if you're that guy that you like you're the one who trains the eagle and gets the eagle to fly and land on your arm, and you walk around with the eagle, And
they did. The handlers walked around with that eagle, and a couple of times it was in front of us, like 14 rows down, right there on the field. And Jacob was like grabbing me. He's like, "Look, there's the eagle!" Like you would have thought it was Cam Newton.
But that's what's so funny, because you think about these are Jacob's most. Who would have known that ever you could bring together the love of birds, the love of Cam Newton, and the love of football in one place, and see if he could handle that bird? That would be it. Anyway.
And so they recognized Cam at halftime. They had this amazing video that plays highlighting his career. There's like a laser light show. I showed you some pictures of it,
it's crazy.
A video of it, the stadium. I mean, and he stood there and you could just tell just was moved, like absorbed it. And he has like 10 kids. All his kids came out, his wife, his family. I don't know if I'm assuming parents. I don't know. They were older people that came out, and he just stood there and got pictures. And the funny thing I was telling you, speaking of handlers, his handlers were coming out and like, come on, we trying to get him off the field because the marching band still had their performance they were going to do. And he just blew them off. He's like, you could just tell he was like, this is my one moment. We're getting pictures with my family. And he just kept taking pictures with his family to the point the marching band started and had to go around him.
True professionals that they can still say information around.
And he just, and he's laughing about it and finally came off the field, but it was cool. And then Jacob's other favorite thing.
Before you get to that, but you also said at one point he was like in the stands. Yeah.
I mean, he's a big kid. Like Jacob, early on in the game, he was like, look at Cam running around. I was like, where? And he was like, with the giant megaphone. And he had like the giant cheerleader megaphone. And he was running up and down the sidelines, getting the fans into it. Then he ran into the other end zone, which was opposite of us, which was the student section, and climbed up and jumped in the student section and was like hanging out with them and cheering. And I'm like, there's not another Hall of Fame football player on earth that would go do that. Like he was just just enjoying the moment. And I respect him. Like that was really cool.
And then Jacob's third favorite.
Jacob is nothing. If he's nothing else, he is competitive. And he is very black and white. Good and evil,
strong-willed,
strong opinion,
stubborn. Oh my gosh, so stubborn.
So, if he likes a team, he loves that team. If he doesn't like that team, or he doesn't, or they're playing a team that he loves, he wants everything in the world bad to happen to that team. And so when a visiting team comes, they have to bring their own footballs. And that's what they warm up with. They throw them around. The kickers are kicking them. I mean, it's just Georgia had their own balls. Well, at one point, during before the game, the kicker was kicking, and maybe during halftime. I don't know, at some point he was kicking, warming up, and he kicked it not just through the field goal, but over the safety net, and it landed in the stands where we were. And people picked up the football. And of course, then all the Georgia people, their coaches or trainer or whoever, ball boys, they're down there like waving, like, all right, throw the ball back down. These Auburn fans were like, no. And they were started throwing the ball around the end zone, like up in the bleachers. Yeah. And the Georgia people are going crazy. They're like, throw it back. And then finally this one guy gets it and he holds it up and he's like, looking like he was like, is this what y'all want? And they're like, yeah. And he acts like he's going to throw it. And then he stops and gives them the middle finger and then just throws the ball behind him. They end up throwing that ball higher and higher up the stadium until it gets to the top. And then they throw the ball out of the stadium. And Jacob thought that was the greatest thing that he had ever seen and loved it. I mean, it was just like,
he's like, I'm taking this back to every football game I ever
App is going to start doing it. Jacob's going to get kicked out of App.
And all the fans are going to be like, oh, what poor sportsmanship our fans are showing. Yeah.
But it was like, Georgia was the enemy. It was all's fair in love and war.
Yeah.
And Jacob just thought that. And it happened again on the other side. And we're kicking and they warmed up and they kicked it over. And those fans did the same thing to students. They just tossed the ball up, and then out of the stadium. And
you guys liked it so much, you said you may just try to go make this a tradition. Not necessarily Auburn, but some SEC
I mean, I'd go back to Auburn, but we were like, when we left that night, we said, we need to do this every year. We need to go to a football game in October. We don't want to go sit out in the sun in September, when it's warm. But because it was really beautiful. It was a clear night. It was good temperatures. Just pick a big game, go to that. Because this was a 7:30 game on ABC. I mean, it was a major game.
Yeah, because I watched it. I watched, and then I went to bed. But I watched a good portion of it,
And so we're like, we need to just, whether it's Tennessee or South Carolina or Florida, like go to some of these stadiums and go to these games because the other atmospheres have to, just to compare. I mean, it's got to be great. So anyway, that was really cool.
And I watched so little TV that I was having to text you to ask how to watch live TV on a show like ABC because I didn't know how to do that on the TV.
Yeah.
It was cool. So when the mic's trying to absorb the game and I'm like, how do I make it show ABC? This isn't Netflix. I don't know what to do. Anyway.
And then the second thing that happened this week is I went to see Bethel in concert.
Yes.
And
while I led the Bible study for the second week while you weren't there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
The Hey, Are You Still There Bible study.
Yeah. Is it? Is that what it is?
That's what we're going to start calling it. The Hey, Are You Still There small group.
Well, no, we need to and it's literally that. Hey, Mike, are you ever still here? Because Beth's always doing it by herself.
Yeah.
That small group. Yeah. Anyway, keep going.
Well, last night I went to the Bethel concert with two members of our small group. And the three of us went. And Bethel, for those of you who don't know, is a music ministry out of California. They have like the Bethel School of Music. They're huge. They have lots of different artists, and they're really probably the front runners in the modern church worship era. And they're a little controversial in that the people that love them. The people who don't love them, they say things.
So are they the Cam Newton of Christian
music?
They
are.
Yeah.
They're charismatic-y. They're just different. They're not everybody's cup of tea, but
as in they're not mine. I mean, I'm like, so no offense, Bethel, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. But I wanted to go just experience Bethel. And so they came to the Tanger Center in Greensboro, which is an amazing place to see a concert. And they advertised it as like Bethel, I think they just called it like ministry night, like they didn't call it a worship service. They definitely didn't call it a concert, and it was really good. And I walked away feeling like if people who don't like or disagree with Bethel, if they came to this, I don't know what they could argue about. The music was very Christ-centered, very biblical. There was not that lovey-dovey, like, because that's kind of the slam sometimes on contemporary Christian music is.
It's just so like
It's sappy.
rainbows and lollipops.
And if you replace the word God with your girlfriend's name, it would sound the same, But this wasn't like that at all. It was a lot of songs about the blood, a lot of songs about the cross. Like, it was just a very biblically solid, spiritual, just great. And one of the female singer who was there was Jen Johnson, and her husband Brian are the ones who founded Bethel. And so to be able to see Jen there in person was pretty special. And Goodness of God is one of my all-time favorite
and I do
worship
like that
songs.
song. I like some of their songs. Yeah.
I love Goodness of God, and she wrote Goodness of God and sang it, and she sang it last night, and it was incredible. I mean, it was better than I expected, And again, I went in. I don't even know if I even went in wanting to truly like worship as much as let me see what the hype's about.
Yeah.
Let me see. Like, I want to sit here and because I hadn't been to a Christian concert. I don't even know when. I mean,
and I think that's part of the problem.
7 or 8 years, maybe.
Either.
I don't even know.
And I don't like. I mean, I know this sounds terrible, and I can't always put my finger on what it is that sometimes just feels kind of, I don't know, not good about them sometimes, because they do become sometimes so showy or so like, I don't know, it's a weird dynamic. And so it is not that I'm critical. I'm so glad people who enjoy it can go. For me, I think that's just not one of the things I usually do.
Yeah. And I've definitely been to other Christian concerts that felt like we're just trying to imitate the world.
Yeah, like we're just a performance. We're just here for a show.
Yeah.
It's not about like worship or anything.
Right.
And that's fine. But then just be a normal artist and just make music.
Or an artist I've been to them where it's like, look at me. You almost feel like I did not get that impression at all last night.
Or sometimes they're not even, you find out like not very nice people.
Horrible people.
Yeah.
But I did not get that vibe last night. I felt like the 5 or 6 performers that were up there on that stage were extremely humble and they were genuine and nothing was showy. There was no big light shows. I mean, there was just...
Well, you really missed out, though, because while you were doing that, we were talking about Proverbs. And I mean, I got so much wisdom in me now from like that whole discussion with our group on Proverbs. Yeah, you really missed out. Just want you to know that.
One of the guys last night said a quote that I thought was brilliant. And so I pulled out my phone, because in my phone I have in my notes a list of quotes. So like when I hear a quote, I'll put it in there. So I wrote this quote down. But as I wrote his quote down, I was like scrolling up and I saw a quote, and it said, "Experience is the friend of wisdom, but the enemy of faith." And I remember hearing that for the first time years ago, and I thought, experience is the friend of wisdom, but the enemy of faith.
I'm going to have to think about that, because I don't know what I think about that. I mean, I don't know. That's one I got to chew on. I mean, it's profound. I like the first part. I don't know, though, that I necessarily would. I don't know, because if you're a friend of wisdom, I don't know. Anyway, we won't go there, but I have to think about that.
Yeah,
I'll think about it.
I liked it because I think too many times you have some kind of bad experience and you don't want to step out in faith and do it again.
Oh, yeah. I can see that.
You, like your book, let's say you wrote this book.
And everybody hates it.
But you feel like in your heart you have another book inside of you.
Right. And then I don't do it because of that bad experience.
Because of the experience. But the experience brings wisdom, on Beth is taking our dogs out and they're going nuts, chasing deer and fox or whatever they do at night. But, but now you have the experience of writing the books, and now you have more wisdom. and
Yes.
how to write it.
Right.
So that's what this guy was trying to tell me.
I do get that. See, and that's what I think. That's why I said on some of these quotes, it's not that I don't like it. I have to just think through it. I mean, we even have Proverbs like that last night that I was like, I'd underlined one and I was like, this does not make sense. But then we looked and it like referenced back to something in Genesis. And once we all really dug into it, we're like, oh, I get it. But I could see that. I could see when you explain it like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what was the Bethel quote? Was it related to that?
The guys, no.
Oh.
He said, I'm going to try to remember without looking it up. He said, happiness is tied to happiness. That you're happy based on what happens to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's different than joy, you know, and he was talking about, you know, so much of how we view God is based on what happens to us and how happy we are. And he was like, you can't do that. Like happiness is tied to happiness, which happiness isn't even a word, but that's what makes it kind of good. Yeah, I like that. Happiness is tied to happiness. But anyway, I jotted that down, and as I was scrolling up, I just happened to saw that. I saw wisdom, and that's what caught my eye, thinking about Proverbs, because as a church body, we're all reading Proverbs this month. And I was like, oh, what was this quote? And then I read it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that was a really good quote.
So super quick aside based on that kind of is related to like the Proverbs and all the different discussions we've been having. So I've had a tough week because we've had, you know, I talked last week about some illness in our family, and just it's kind of been one of those days to the point of today. I went to turn on the sink and we had no water, and I call you and I'm like, we have no water and I have to go to the doctor and I need to wash my hands, you know, and you called the water service and they were like, well, we turned off your water because you didn't pay the bill. And we were like, oh, we are on auto pay. We paid the bill. And they're like, oh, our bad. Okay, we'll send somebody out to turn on your water. But it was like, that was just one thing in this series of like, you know, my mom's been dealing with some illness. My dad then got ill. They've already been dealing with, you know, their brothers and stuff that are sick, and stress at work, and just, you know, you have all that. And I thought about it and I was like, I'm dealing, you know, and I shared it with a few friends and they're like, oh, we're really worried about you. This is a lot to carry. And it is. I mean, I'm stressed. I mean, that's one reason I've yelled at you. So, you know, circumstantially, you know, I'm stressed. But I've been thinking about too, even when you were talking about, like, we talked about parenting and what we do, like reading a lot. Somehow I think we got this skewed view of like mental health too, also being when you're happy. Like if you're mentally healthy, if you're happy. But like I was telling some of my friends, I was like, oh, I'm extremely stressed, but I think I'm doing about everything I can to manage it really well. You know, I'm still exercising. I'm trying to eat right. I'm getting some sunshine, walking Cam, you know, like
yelling at Mike.
Yeah, yelling at Mike. That's how I release it. I said, you know, writing the book, like doing some things that are just for me. But I say all that to say, it's interesting how these things, you know, you just start to hear all these things in your universe and you're like, oh, that's tied together. And I think about how just like we think happiness is based on what happens to us, I think we also think, well, to be mentally healthy, you should be happy. But being mentally healthy is being able to have, you know, I think it's some measured response, you know, to still feel emotion, but being able to find ways to manage your emotions and to continue through those circumstances.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was just an interesting.
Well, I know one thing this week, this is the last thing we'll talk about, then we got to cut out of here because it's gone a little long.
And I have to get to bed.
One thing that made me very happy but made you unhappy is I got Wordle on one try.
Okay. Why are we even talking about
I got Wordle on one try.
Ross
the word was
with
beard, and I got it on one try. I typed in BEARD, and then I hit submit, and then the B turned green, and then the R turned green.
No, not the R, because that would be bread.
The E turned green. The A turned green. The R, and then the D.
Did you really?
And it was like beard, and I was like, wow. Like, I wanted to run around Panera and show every person in there. And all you've done, and all Ross has done, and I even got text from people who I even got a text, Beth, I can tell you this. I got a text from a lady from New Hope.
What did she say?
Donna said, I agree with Beth. Getting it in 2 times takes more skill than getting it in 1.
Yes.
You just got lucky.
Yes.
And I'm like, I ain't talked to you in a year. Why are you like jumping on me for?
Yeah, Donna.
Look, haters are going to hate. I understand how Cam Newton feels. Cam Newton wore number 1, and that served as a target on his back.
So
I am now number 1. I am the Cam Newton of Wordle.
Bethel is the Cam Newton of Christian music, you are the Cam Newton of Wordle because you got lucky and your starter word happened to be the word for the day.
I nailed it.
Okay.
And you know what I did? What did I do?
You've never played again.
I retired.
I know, which is ridiculous because now we're all still sharing like connections. Like I got connections. It was super hard, and then we're like, oh, well, Mike, you shared your connections. We're like, what about Wordle? And you're like, I'm not doing it.
Why would I? I mean, it's like when you climb Everest once, you don't need to go back up.
Okay, I'm sorry, but typing 5 letters into a phone app, and those 5 letters happen to form a word, that is not the equivalent of climbing Everest.
Have you done it?
No,
Have you done it?
No.
Have you got Wordle in 1?
Well, you just wait till my starter word is. We'll see. I need to go back and look and see if my starter word has already been used.
Oh, that would be cheating.
Don't tell me you haven't done it because you told me you had changed your starter word for some reason before this.
I change them all the time.
I don't.
Well, that's your problem.
No, it's not. That's like if you have lottery numbers or something and you're changing it all the time. Anyway, I think it's ridiculous that you are being like this. I didn't yell at you about that, though. I just rolled my eyes and thought that it was...
All you did was just cast like stones at me, bury me like, oh, that's not like, there was not even like, way to go, honey. It was, oh, you got lucky.
Yeah.
Skill is getting it in 2 times. And I said, that's what second place people say.
No, but not in real things
People
that you're actually
who
using
can't
skill.
finish first make excuses why they still are better.
Because second place is the first loser.
That's right.
The motto of our family.
That's right.
Yes, second place, first
That's right.
loser.
See, you know who you are? And this comes full circle.
Oh, gosh, who am I?
Now you are Luke.
Oh.
Because when you play a board game with Luke and Luke loses,
Yes.
he then explains all the reasons why he lost and how different things. And it was never.
The game is not.
It's something happened. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And that's what you're doing. It's I've won. And now you're like, well, here's all the reasons why I haven't got it in 1.
Are you going to make this the Wordle poll? Because I think that I will win. Because again, just.
Yeah, you know why you win? Because only me and Eric, that's right, Taryn's husband, Eric has gotten Wordle in 1. He and I stand alone on the Mount Rushmore of Wordle.
I think that Eric would probably agree that it was luck.
No.
I don't think that Eric has turned in his Wordle card and been like, I'm out. I have reached the pinnacle.
He should.
I don't think so.
I retired. Like 3-4 years ago, was it? I won the Crokinole, which is a game.
Which no one knew what it was.
No one knew what it was.
And you had never played.
I had never played it before.
Somehow beat the world champion.
I did.
Or whatever.
I played in the North Carolina State Crokinole tournament.
And by the way, this wasn't like my disc golf tournament where like I was, I don't know, 3rd place out of 3 women. You legitimately beat a lot of people, which is crazy.
A lot of good people.
And but I will give you that. That was amazing. That wasn't, quote, luck.
But my point is, that happened, I think, 4 years ago. Every year, I keep going back to that same board game convention. It's Tantrum Con in Charlotte. 4-day event. 1,200 people come to it. It's a huge board game convention. Every year, they have the North Carolina State Championship. Every year, they say, Mike, will you come back and play in this tournament? And every year, I say, no, I'm retired. I have not played in that tournament since I won the championship, and I never will. I went out on top. and I'm done.
Doesn't this go back to that quote you were talking about, though? So you've had such a positive experience that now you've given up and you won't have faith and continue to believe that you can improve. And
No,
maybe
I
win
had such a
again?
good experience. The wisdom tells me there's no need to keep doing
Oh,
it.
please, whatever. See, now you manipulate the quote to fit whatever.
No.
Again, this would be a good time to have a camera so that they could see
Beth.
your face where you're giving me that face of like, I'm so innocent. What are you talking about?
Maybe one day you can get Wordle in one.
Maybe one day I can.
Listen.
Life goals.
I want to point out two things. Number one, I wrote a book before you. Number two, I got a Wordle in one before you. I'm up 2-0.
Oh, can I tell the one thing that not all heroes wear capes, where Cam saved a dog's life?
We'll save it for next week.
Okay, but just don't forget.
We don't have time.
Don't let the listeners not know. Cam saved a dog's life. And my friend Jenny was on the phone and heard it happen. I mean, we had to hang up as it was happening.
Does Jenny listen to this podcast, Josh? You've given her a lot of run this episode.
No, I need to tell her.
If she doesn't listen, then don't talk about her.
Oh, good point. I'll tell her that. Well, you lost all of our other listeners, Marissa, Katrina. I'm trying to remember who else you probably insulted.
Katrina was like, have you tried Wordle on hard? And I would be like, why? Like, it don't change a thing. Like, even if it was on hard, I'd have got it in one guess. You could have it on expert level, and I still just aced it. That's another bitter Salem woman.
Oh,
trying to bring down the man.
No, I think that she was just trying to say, oh, now that you've achieved what you think is your Mount Everest, there's actually a mountain that's taller that you can aspire to. So she's just trying to keep you in the game.
Let me tell you
She's trying to
something.
keep you in the challenge.
She's trying to distract me. She's like, look at Kilimanjaro over here. And I'm like, no, nobody cares about Kilimanjaro. I want to go where the dead bodies are. Because as I'm reaching Everest, I'm stepping over the frozen corpse of Ross and Beth.
Oh, gosh. Oh, you've really gone to a bad turn. Now we're going to get canceled on this podcast.
By who? Sherpas in Nepal?
I don't know. People who, I don't know, are really offended on behalf of the people that failed climbing Everest. I don't know. Oh,
That's how I feel.
A night. This is what you get, y'all, when I'm up way past my bedtime.
Well, and you've had a little alcohol.
I had, what is that stuff? It's like my
But what was in here?
drink. That was a little bit of wine.
A little bit of wine.
But only a little bit, because the bottle had been open. It was going to go bad.
Oh, you got to finish it off. Then.
Yes, yeah.
All right. Well, hey, we had a very eventful week.
Yes, we
So
did.
we're going to put the link to Beth's book and mine in the podcast links. But definitely, if you're only going to buy one, buy Beth's.
No, buy both.
No, buy yours. Although I have reduced the price on mine a little bit, which was my plan all along.
A special? You're running a special?
I had a price in mind for the first month, and after the first month, I dropped it down to $9.99, which is what I wanted it to be, and so it's all good.
Good. Awesome.
So you can get the print copy of mine for $9.99 or Beth's print copy for $11.99.
Mine is a little longer.
It's a few pages longer, and it's better.
So I was going to say they're just getting a little more quantity, so that can justify the $2.
Yeah, there you go.
Or whatever, $3, whatever it is. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, go have a great week. Buy those 2 good books, read them.
Comment about Mike's Wordle hurdle, like the way that he's just overcome so much and the genius that he displays. Yeah, just keep doing that. Mm-hmm.
I'll make that the poll question. What's more impressive, to get Wordle in 1 or 2?
And I'm going to win that poll.
Because
I guarantee.
All the second place people will be like, 2.
Like,
who wants to get Wordle in 1?
I'm just saying, no one is going to, because everyone is going to agree that if you get it in 1, it's luck. If you get it in 2, that probably took some skill. So that's what they're going to say.
All right. If your first word got 4 straight letters, and then the second word you're able to add the 1, is that skill?
Well, no, but I'm saying, but it's skill when you take something, like one time I did Wordle and I had none of the letters on the first one. And if you still solve it, I think I'm just saying it actually takes brain power. You're having to think about what letters you're going to put in next.
I had brain power.
Oh, just
for
in
beard.
Ooh, I'm going to think about what word it may
Ross
be.
suggested, I've got a tattoo now. So Ross suggested that I get that Wordle tattooed on me somewhere.
Oh, gosh. Ross is full of bad
I thought
ideas.
I would get it as like a tramp stamp, going across the bottom of my back.
Beard would be.
So when I bend over, y'all can see the G-string and the Wordle.
Beard. Yeah, that's what. This is a great way to end this podcast tonight.
It's leaving some good images in people's minds.
Yes, exactly. That's what we're going for.
Yeah, but anyway, so congratulations, Beth, on your book.
Yes.
It looks wonderful. We'll have to display it somewhere.
Yes.
And we'll get some.
We'll display both of them.
Other copies, and we'll sell them in person at church or wherever, the trunk of your car.
Wherever books are sold.
Yeah, wherever.
Yeah, wherever books are sold. Oh, we could give them out at Trunk or Treat. That's what I should do.
You can set up a book signing.
Yeah. Like all the kids are coming. Do you have any candy? No, but I have
But
a
if you
book.
give me $10, I'll give you a book and I'll sign it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah. Give me $10. I'll give you a Jolly Rancher and a book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So see, it works. Yeah.
Yeah, buy a Jolly Rancher for $10.
Yeah.
Get a book for free.
Yeah. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, we're really leaving now, everybody.
Yes. So it's been fun. This is Mike.
And Beth.
And this has been Hey, Are You Still There?